Hey guys, Ridiculous Badger coming at you from Planet 545. Got it right that time. And let's continue to talk about this guy. So, quick recap. We dissected the wording on Quantum Blast, and we found out that yes, it does damage based off of the HP that you have in the slot. It's limited by your standard attacks damage, which is subject to the enemy's defense, but also that it's not such a simple thing. Let's say your gear set has 300% HP and 300% attack. That's not an equal stat because those are modifiers that you apply to the unit stats that are in those slots. So HP starts out at 8 times the rate of attack, so your HP is already way in ahead. So in order to maximize damage on the Quantum Blast, you actually have to build a ton of attack. Just a ton of attack. And as long as you do that calculation of what is my standard attack, which is attack squared divided by enemy defense, and then the limit of Quantum Blast is twice that, and then you take the calculation of what is the HP of the unit that is in the slot, and remember to do that, you take the HP of the unit, multiply that by the amount that you have, which is leadership divided by units. It is that times the percentage, the Quantum Blast skill. That would be the damage. Now keep in mind that if the stack gets diminished by attacks that do not destroy it outright, that will diminish the damage that the HP can do. So in the vast majority of cases, you need way more attack in order to reach that HP value, because as you saw, HP starts out on the T1 Ranger at 8 times what the attack level is. So, the way that people in the past would build out the Plasma Bomber is that they would go like really high HP. And I'm sure there are people who are saying you should do Gift of Valkyrie for that, but based on what I've been explaining and exploring with you guys, that really, that's the opposite of what you need in the vast majority of cases. Of course, there are going to be cases that this actually works in, but for most players, most of the time, this is a step backwards. It increases that ratio between HP and attack, and what you need to do is diminish it, and you need to get that attack bumped up, because right now, base vanilla Plasma, he's got a 700% lead of HP on attack at 8 times the level. So I'm actually going to I go the opposite way with that. I go Devastation Helmet, increased attack, decreased defense, which I like because it then increases the enemy's attack on me. And if you go, I'm not really going to go through the math, but if you go through the math, you will find that defense in the end has more of an impact on your end Quantum Blast damage than the enemy HP will have. HP just allows the enemy to take more damage before losing units, whereas defense lowers your damage. So I go Devastation Helmet, and honestly, I could even replace this HP gem with an attack gem. And I'm going to I have these Apocalyptors for their high attack and also for their accuracy, and on each of them I have an attack and an accuracy gem. Ideally, these would be Titans. Even more attack is necessary with the build that I have to reach maximum damage. I'm just not there yet. But I do put an accuracy gem on there, and I'll do the same on my Titans. I'll do an attack gem and an accuracy gem. And the reason for that is I find that one of the most effective counters to Plasma is Plasma, at least for an infantry player. So One of the things, though, that people do with Plasma is they build them with a bunch of dodge to utilize that first skill, that energy transfer skill. As we finish up, you'll see there's not much we could really do with the legs except dodge. So because people are putting dodge on this thing, I want some accuracy, and I find a lot of the time that accuracy can be enough to allow me to land enough hits on the enemy that when I actually do kill an enemy plasma slot, it is less impactful on the battle. So I like some accuracy there, and for the same reason, I like sure hit gems. I love Gemini. I like Libra for this. And I'm going to use a Black Knight. Yes, it does have some HP. Yes, it does have defense. It's not a Void. And for a couple of reasons, I don't run Void on him. Every once in a while, if I need to go really dodgy, I'll run Void on him. But I like the Tear Suppression on Plasma, and I run Tear Suppression on Plasma. You'll see I have another Libra gem. So I like it, though, because it's out of the chess pieces. It actually, out of the event chess pieces, I should say, it has a relatively low defense. What you could do, by the way, is Plasma is a great candidate for Body of Phoenix. You got your dodge in there, you have some HP, it's even lower base than Black Knight. You got defense, it's hard to get rid of that defense and still run a decent gear piece in that slot for a Plasma or for infantry in general. But I like Tear Suppression again, so it's not that much higher. The HP and defense isn't that much higher here. And keep in mind, the defense aspect is counteracted in the front row by my Devastation helmet. And then that brings us to the legs. I've heard run Fabrication. I don't like Fabrication because Fabrication raises the defense that my Plasma has, which means it lowers the damage that the enemy deals to him, which means it's less likely for the enemy to kill stacks. And it's this weird dichotomy that because of his first skill, that energy transfer skill, I don't want to get hit. I want to dodge, but also when I do get hit, I want the enemy to slam me. Or I want to bleed the enemy out like little by little. So it's like you have these different forces at play, and I find with a Plasma you have to like skirt this line. You have to play him like a very balanced commander as far as infantry goes. I mean, a balanced commander with infantry, it still has a ton of attack, right? Infantry loves attack. So for me there's too much defense on the Fabrication. If you're playing like a gigantic Plasma and those things are scary as hell, then Fabrication might be good for you. For the same reason, while Speed of God has dodge on here, the resistance weaken effect I'm not a huge fan of. I want, when walkers attack me, I want walkers to kill me. Except like Hoodoo, but I don't want to deploy Plasma against Hoodoo. At any rate, this is not for me. I run Nixa. Because, yeah, it's got some defense, but it's got a great amount of dodge. I supplement it with more dodge gems. And for me, that does a lot to provide that extra punch when the energy transfer does proc. I find I dodge a good amount of the time. That coupled with my Gemini. So I run Gemini instead of Sagittarius on Plasma, specifically because I prefer the two smaller strikes of a Gemini to the one big strike of a Plasma, because I will use my Plasma against enemy Plasmas, and so I don't want to like hit his stack and destroy it. Again, this is like a push and a pull kind of thing, where I find that if I'm fighting Plasmas, in general, they tend to be bigger than me, or higher tier, or whatever. So I find that even though the Gemini is a powerful gem set, if it's a choice between a Sagittarius one big hit and a two smaller hit Gemini, I'm going to take the Gemini. And then the Libra 4-set, I run that because I run a 2-set Libra for Tear Suppression, and I would prefer to have a 4-set if possible. and it's also sure hit, and we like sure hits. And so this is my plasma. We'll show you the how it works out. So 343.5 attack, 146.4 HP. Add in the research here. Forget the hull and the guild buffs. It's going to work out to 120 research on the HP, 240 research on the attack. So 266.4 HP and 583.5 attack. So right now I'm running basically double percentage on attack. So super important. Go in there, take a look, do your calculations. Don't go based on what people say. Don't go based on what I'm telling you. Take a look and really sit down with it and figure out what makes sense for you. But run a plasma, release him from Imperial prison, please.